Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be looking at the wisdom of Gautama Buddha.
Excellent.
You sent in 2 articles packed with quotes attributed to him, one from June 2023 and then another from May 2024.
Okay.
So we're going to kind of sift through these and see what kind of gems that we can uncover.
Sounds good.
You ready to unlock some ancient wisdom?
I am always ready for that. There's always something new to discover in these teachings.
Yeah, and one of the things that I noticed right away was a quote that appears in both articles.
Okay.
What you think you become.
Yes.
It's pretty simple, but it really struck me. I don't know about you. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's fascinating because it's not just about positive thinking, right?
Yeah.
Like just think good thoughts and good things will happen.
Right.
Buddha challenges us to go a bit deeper than that.
Yeah.
He's asking us to really look at our mental habits. Like, what are the thought patterns that we repeat over and over again?
Right.
If we constantly dwell on negativity, we're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Well, for sure.
But the good news is we can become architects of our own mental landscape.
I like that, architects of our own mental landscape. That's a really cool way to think about it.
Yeah.
It makes me think about all those other quotes in here about peace.
Mm-hmm.
There's that one that I really liked in the Buddha quotes on peace section from the first article.
Yeah.
Peace comes from understanding and accepting that, which is,
Oh, yeah.
that seems to connect with this idea of, really controlling our thoughts.
Absolutely. This is central to Buddhism.
Okay.
It's not about forcing ourselves to feel happy all the time or, pretending that everything's okay when it's not.
Right.
It's about understanding that true peace that comes from within. It's about cultivating this inner peace and finding a sense of calm amidst all the chaos of life.
What resonates with you about that quote?
Well, I think that, for me, it's a reminder that even in really, really tough situations, like when things are really hard,
Yeah.
finding that understanding can bring a sense of peace.
Yeah, totally.
It's not ignoring the problem, but it's approaching it with a different mindset.
Yeah, I think for me, as someone who, really values understanding, it's a reminder that even in those tough situations, just finding that understanding can bring a sense of peace.
Exactly. And that understanding can extend to our relationships with others, too, which Buddha also speaks a lot about.
You're right. There are a lot of quotes about love and compassion in these articles.
Yeah.
One that really stands out to me is, love the world as a mother loves her only child.
Wow.
I mean, that imagery is so strong.
It's a powerful image that helps us grasp the kind of boundless love that Buddha advocated for.
Right.
It's not a love that's limited to just our family or our friends. It extends to all beings.
Wow.
It's a challenging idea, but a beautiful one.
Definitely challenging, but it makes you think.
Yeah.
And then the second article has this quote that almost seems like a warning. In the absence of love, there is suffering. Fill your heart with love and be free. I'm sensing a connection here between love and peace, and maybe even happiness.
I think you're onto something. It seems Buddha saw those things as deeply interconnected.
Okay.
In Buddhist thought, love isn't just a fleeting feeling.
Right.
It's a transformative force that can help free us from suffering and lead to greater peace and happiness.
Okay, so we've got this foundation of controlling our thoughts,
Yes.
cultivating inner peace, and then approaching the world with love and compassion. Where does the concept of karma fit into all of this?
Karma is often misunderstood.
Yeah.
It's not about some mystical force keeping score and, doling out punishments and rewards.
Okay.
It's more about understanding this law of cause and effect. In the first article, there's a quote, "Speak with kindness, for your words hold the power to heal or harm."
Powerful.
Every action, every word, every thought has a ripple effect.
Wow.
It shapes our present and future experiences.
So our thoughts and intentions really do matter.
Absolutely, they do.
I'm starting to see how everything connects back to that first quote. Yes.
What you think you become. If we want positive outcomes in our lives and in the world, it starts with cultivating positive thoughts, which then lead to positive actions.
Exactly. It's a cycle.
Yeah.
And a lot of Buddhist teachings are about breaking free from negative cycles and creating positive ones.
And speaking of creating positive cycles, both of these articles you provided have a lot to say about happiness.
It's a key theme for sure.
Yeah.
Would you like to dive into a specific quote about happiness that resonated with you?
Oh, there's so many to choose from. There's so many to choose from. But there's this one I really like. Happiness never decreases by being shared. It's like that analogy of a candle.
Yes. Yes.
You can light 1,000 candles from one single candle, and the original candle won't lose any of its flame.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
It really challenges our usual ideas about happiness.
Yeah.
Like it's this limited resource and you only get so much of it.
Right. But the more we focus on giving and sharing, the more we realize that happiness is something we can actually cultivate and expand. It doesn't diminish when we share it.
Right. It also makes me think about how our happiness can impact the happiness of those around us.
Exactly. It's
Hmm.
like creating a ripple effect of positivity.
Yeah, for sure.
And that also ties into this Buddhist idea of detachment,
Okay.
not being so emotionally chained to things that when we lose them, we experience suffering.
Right.
The less we cling to those material possessions or even, external validation,
Hmm.
the less likely we are to experience disappointment or unhappiness when those things change or go away.
There are a couple other quotes about happiness that I thought were interesting too.
Okay.
One says, happiness will never come to those who fail to appreciate what they already have.
Mm-hmm.
And another one says, happiness is not having a lot, happiness is giving a lot.
I love those.
What's your take on those?
I see those quotes as invitations to shift our perspective.
Okay.
It's so easy to get caught up in wanting more, 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 always striving for that next thing.
Right.
But Buddha encourages us to find contentment and joy in the present moment,
Okay.
in what we already have.
Hmm.
And even more than that, he suggests that true happiness comes from giving,
Right.
from acts of kindness and generosity.
So it's not about accumulating things, but about contributing to something larger than ourselves.
Exactly. And that brings us to another important theme of these articles, which is self-love.
Okay.
One quote that really stands out to me is, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection."
Wow.
This speaks to the foundation of Buddhist practice, which is self-compassion.
Yeah, I love that quote.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder that we can't truly love and care for others if we don't first love and care for ourselves.
You can't pour from an empty cup, as they say.
Right.
And self-compassion is not about being selfish or self-centered or narcissistic.
Right.
It's about recognizing our own inherent worthiness
Mm.
and treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a loved one.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
that inner foundation of love and acceptance.
This reminds me of the most beautiful Buddha quotes section in the first article.
Oh, yeah.
There's one in there that I just love. Work out your own salvation. Do not depend on others.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I find that quote really empowering.
Yeah.
It emphasizes personal responsibility.
Hmm.
Buddha's teachings encourage us to cultivate our own understanding and wisdom,
Right.
rather than just blindly following dogma or relying on some external authority.
Right.
It's about taking ownership of our own spiritual journey.
What speaks to you about that quote?
Well, I think it's a reminder that we often look outside ourselves,
Mhm.
for validation or guidance.
Yeah.
But ultimately, our happiness and well-being are our own responsibility.
Right.
We have the power within ourselves to shape our own lives.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, for
It's about empowerment.
And sometimes that means letting go of expectations and attachments, which brings us to another key Buddhist concept, impermanence.
Ah, yes.
Right.
The ever-changing nature of reality.
This second article you gave me has a whole section called Famous Gautama Buddha Quotes.
Okay.
And there's one in there that stood out to me, nothing is permanent.
That's a big one.
I have to admit that one feels a little daunting.
Yeah. I can see why you'd say that.
Yeah, what's comforting or helpful about that idea?
Well, it can feel daunting at first, but I actually see it as incredibly liberating
Okay.
because everything is in a constant state of flux.
Mm-hmm.
Our thoughts, our emotions, our bodies, relationships, even the world around us.
Wow.
Recognizing that nothing lasts forever can actually help us let go of clinging and find peace in the present moment.
So instead of fearing change, we can kind of embrace it as an inevitable part of life.
Exactly. Clinging to the way things are only leads to suffering when those things inevitably change.
Right.
By accepting impermanence, we open ourselves up to greater peace, joy, and a sense of freedom.
I like that.
It allows us to appreciate each moment for what it is without grasping or resisting.
That's a really beautiful way to look at it.
Thank you.
It makes me think about that quote about peace coming from understanding and accepting what is.
Yes.
Maybe accepting impermanence is a key part of finding that peace.
I think you're right.
Oh.
And that acceptance can extend to all areas of our lives.
Okay.
Our relationships, our work, our health, our emotions.
Right.
It's a powerful practice.
Speaking of powerful practices, are there any other quotes that we haven't talked about yet that you feel are important to highlight?
There are so many, but One that keeps coming back to me is from that most beautiful Buddha quotes section. It's, peace comes from within.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like such a simple statement, but it holds so much wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was drawn to that one too.
Yeah.
I think in a world that's constantly telling us, to look outside of ourselves for happiness and fulfillment.
Right.
It's such a powerful reminder that true peace, it can only be found within.
Exactly. If we're always seeking peace in external things,
Right.
possessions, relationships, achievements, we'll always be chasing something that's ultimately out of our control.
Yeah.
It's like trying to build a house on shifting sand.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
It really highlights the importance of cultivating that inner foundation
Yes.
of peace and stability.
Exactly. Buddhist teachings offer a path to developing that inner strength and resilience.
Okay.
And it starts with awareness,
Right.
paying attention to our thoughts, our emotions, our reactions. It involves choosing kindness and compassion both for ourselves and for others.
Yeah.
And it requires practicing mindfulness and acceptance,
Right.
allowing ourselves to be present in each moment without judgment or resistance.
It sounds like a lifelong journey, but a worthwhile one.
It is a journey.
Yeah.
And there will be ups and downs along the way.
For sure.
But the more we practice these principles,
Yeah.
the more we cultivate that inner peace that can't be shaken by external circumstances.
Well, you've given me a lot to think about.
My pleasure.
Thank you for guiding me through these thought-provoking quotes
You're welcome.
and helping me kind of connect the dots.
It's always a joy to explore these teachings
Yeah.
and see how they resonate with others.
I have a feeling I'll be revisiting these articles
They do.
and reflecting on these insights for a long time to come.
I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah,
These teachings, they stay with you.
they do.
They offer something new every time you come back to them.
And for anyone listening, if Buddha's wisdom has kind of sparked something in you, I encourage you to take a moment today to consider what small step can you take to cultivate more peace, love, or happiness in your own life.
That's a great question to ponder.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It was a great conversation.
We hope you found it enriching.